Like everyone would tell me follow a dream. Like I don't agree with the follow a dream. I connect more with carry a dream because it's heavy. It's very heavy to carry a dream, like carry a handbag. Like you have to carry with all the lessons, with all the changes we have, like political wise, like economy. Like there's so many things happening in technology. So I do see like my career as carrying a dream. Like that's how I see myself out there.
Hi, and welcome to Handbag Designer 101, the podcast with your host, Emily Blumenthal, handbag industry expert and the handbag fairy godmother. Each week, we uncover the stories behind the handbags we love, from the iconic brands and top designers to the creativity, craftsmanship, and culture that define the handbag world. Whether you're a designer, collector, or simply passionate about handbags, this is your front row seat to it all. Welcome, Adriana Castro of 𝐃𝐞𝐬𝐢𝐺 Thank you for joining us. I am delighted to see your beautiful Colombian/Miami face. So happy to have you.
I'm so excited, and it feels like the old days. Like I was so nervous before receiving the call, like the old days Handbag Designer 101 awards. Like you make me like remember that spark and feeling of feeling excited about, about your career and your basic like career highlights. So I'm so happy and thankful I'm here with you. And no matter the years, that connection is still there. And I'm still learning from you every every week with your newsletter. I still feel you're a student.
Oh my God. I still have the video of you from 2009. The one thing about you that you're very lucky is that you always photograph very well. So, as long as you stay pretty and talented, I don't think it matters about anything else with you. So I think you're good
Thank
because
you
you
so
look the
much,
same.
Emily.
Oh my goodness. So, she's from Colombia, Ms. Castro. How did the handbag come to be? Because it has been a long, long road to, as we were just talking about, the evolution backwards, how when you and I started, there was no social media to the extent. It was like you had a website and you went on the road meeting your customers one by one. And now your customers are so excited that they just want to call you and have a chat. So how did all this come to be?
It's been like a really interesting experience because I think through the years, technology advances, everything goes so fast. And now it's like we're going backwards. But I think it's really magical to go back because I think, the customer out there wants to connect with you, with the story behind it, not only with the story, but the hands behind it, and kind of, find that little shopping experience like human. I think that's their reaction to what they're feeling, like that emptiness. So I think that's like their way to get back. And also they're creating something in us creators that we enjoy that process. And we are reminded, why are we here? Why are we here to create, and how it should feel? It should feel exciting and passionate and purposeful. So that's where we are now, like going backwards, but I don't even call it backwards. I think for me, it's always forward. Even though, there are some, let's call like Asian traditions, like kind of like being born now with that new approach to shopping. But I think it's really magical for us. And I think, like we're accepting it like in a beautiful way.
But you started designing, like your bags were made in Colombia. You were very much part of the whole, because I know at one point Colombia was really, really, really pushing, trying to get manufacturing done domestically and using the leathers and using the skins, whatever skins now are, legal and acceptable. They may have been then, not so much now. How did all this come to be? Because I know with your brand, aka Adriana Castro, you've been through a lot of iterations of seeing what worked, what didn't. And I think also having an eponymous brand, i.e., a brand named after yourself, there's a lot of, I don't want to say like ego swallowing, where you start out thinking you're one big thing and then it hits you in the face like, hold on. I'm just trying to sell handbags. So it's not about me. It's not about like over the top and selling these really expensive bags. It's about selling bags to make people happy. So how did all this start?
So now that I think about the purpose of starting, I'm very paradoxic, like in Spanish, paradoja. So when I started, I had this, like this innate feeling to support indigenous communities, artisans, working with sustainable materials, with natural fibers. But at the same time, I was inclined to create pieces that would like be inherited from generation to generation. And that's where noble materials and exotics came through it. So I remember when starting, I had this two kind of radical opponents in my head, but I did start, I said it's possible. Why not? I don't consider myself to be only like noble exotic materials because I have this root inside of me. And that's how that bag called the 𝐶𝐚𝐚 bag was always present, made by indigenous communities in the Caribbean. But you also had, like the python, the croc, and all these noble materials, because I really thought, in some way they connected, like this is for me, this is essence, this is root, this is purpose. And at the same time, this is something that's going to be forever, like I even started with the birth certificate. I don't know, when I was a kid, we had the Cabbage Patch Kids.
I was just going to say, yeah.
And I remember that feeling. So we have, with all this noble material handbags, we have this adopt with love. You get the birth certificate and then just passing that through generation to generation. So that's how I started with this both markets, because at the end it's like totally different markets. Like you have the raffia, the natural fibers, and then you have the noble materials. So kind of it started. Colombia was always present. I love, more than selling a product and more than creating a handbag, I love telling stories, and I do find myself expressing through fashion. I just found, I had so many things inside of me that not a product could talk about it. I needed a whole story. And I think that's how I really started, like in my career and with the brand, because I did feel like I needed it. It's something I needed it to tell a story. Since I remember, I have this in my head from many years ago, like carry a dream. Like everyone would tell me follow a dream. Like I don't agree with the follow a dream. I connect more with carry a dream because it's heavy. It's very heavy to carry a dream, like carry a handbag. Like you have to carry with all the lessons, with all the changes we have, like political wise, like economy, like there's so many things happening in technology. So I do see like my career as carrying a dream. Like that's how I see myself out there, and being real of the challenges. I had a few like personal challenges. I lost my dad, like I lost a person I love. So all these lessons in life, taught me to really be out there telling the real story. Like I think like mental health it's out there, and kind of, it's sometimes even creativity can help you with these issues, that just finding the way to express what you are feeling through stories, through products, through creation. So basically that's how I see myself out there, like carrying a dream.
But what was the moment? Like, where were you when you were like, okay, I have this idea. I'm not, it's not like you came from a family that had access to a handbag factory, right? Like, I met you as a result of the Handbag Awards, which I'm very, very grateful that I had the foresight to create an award show that I get to meet really great people like yourself. I mean, selfishly, that's kind of like, if you can't beat them, join them, create an awards where you can meet them. So, so how are you like one day, like, hey, I know that they're indigenous peoples who are creating these tapestries and very thoughtful ways of making skins and materials, and I would like to be their advocate and proponent to save those cherished heritage ways of making a bag, and I want to be this agent. Like, when did all this happen? What were you doing that you're like, because it's always like, it's sitting in your head, and then it takes residency, and then you find yourself and I talk about this a lot, that most of the people who end up falling into handbag design who were not trained in design are usually very rational, very thoughtful, very methodical people who are not crazy. They're not spenders. They're not, I'm going to dump $1,000,000,000 on something. But when this idea gets in their head, they become very irrational, non-logical, very almost irresponsible people. Like, I've got this. I'm going to spend all my time, effort, and energy and money. I'm going to do that. And then, it takes time and experience and all that to, once you've gone through it, to be like, okay, I don't need to create this bespoke lining in Italy because my customers don't care about that. Like, you got to separate yourself. But when did all this come to be that you're like, think I'm going to do this and it doesn't make sense, but I know my soul needs this?
This is like a really interesting story. So like I graduated from American high school in Barranquilla, Colombia. When I graduated, I went to Purdue to study economics, Emily. My mom studied economics, and I think, as a kid, you always have like that person you look up to. So I don't know, I had economics in my mind. I came to the US and I studied economics 4 years in West Lafayette, Indiana. There was no fashion. There's only corn. So I'm surprised I don't have like a corn bag.
But it's funny because I know a lot of people from other countries, when they come to the US, they end up in like tiny.USA. And you're like, the people in tiny.USA are like, what's this beautiful girl from Colombia doing here? And you're like, wow, this is the first place that took me, the only place that took me, where I had to get the hell out. And I needed to start somewhere.
So then I graduate, I get a job, Sony corporate in Miami, like just after school. All my friends would tell me that's the dream job.
Right, of course.
I was counting the hours. Like, I'm like, this can't feel right.
Yep, I remember that feeling.
I was 21 and everything like aligned. I know it's like everyday things that happening in the US with immigrants. And so I remember for some reason I had that OPT. You graduate from an American school, you get 1 year to work, right? And the company has to sponsor you to continue working in the US. For some reason at that moment, they were not sponsoring. And I just sat there. I said, you know what? I'm going all the way. Something that I always loved. I always loved handbags, not fashion. It was like my mom would tell me since I'm a kid, I'd always just like see the handbag. Like, it was crazy. Maybe because I'm from the Caribbean, we are like beige, linen, whites. So for me, the magic was all in the accessory. So I reached out to the Art Institute in Miami and I did the whole thing. I'm staying, I'm studying again. I'm doing this all over again. So imagine how the universe just puts sometimes, like maybe I was 21. Now maybe I'm more like awake, and maybe you feel more like, you feel the signals more. But at that time it was like a forced,
right,
a forced direction, because, like I like everything legal. Everything has to feel right. And at that moment I went to school. And being in school, I already had the economics background. So I was only focusing on the fashion classes. It was like, it was fun, because all the other things I already did it. Like,
you're like, sure.
The microeconomics, like the whole boring part for me, I was doing all that creative. And I remember I would use all the professors at the end of classes, like, like my friends mentoring, like I'm like, I want to stay with you. I have this dream. I remember my first collection was called Amazonia. I remember in school, like I was just launching a collection right in school. Like I was going all the way there. Now that I look back, I'm like, wow, maybe if I knew more, maybe I wouldn't jump in, but it was meant to be that way. So I remember I launched my first collection in school.
Can I tell you, I'm so interrupting you. People complain about me interrupting all the time, but I have to tell you, no, because the thing is that most people don't do, and you're like one of the few people I know. Like when I launched my brand, I was getting my MBA. I used every single professor. And I think maybe because it's the second round of school, your lens is different. Like you're much more, not transactional, but like you're seeing everything as a utility. Like,
More
okay,
practical, right? More
exactly.
practical.
Like, I have someone who's an expert. I have someone who can look at this. I've like, okay, so you're going to be my mentor. Guess what? You didn't sign up for it. You didn't ask, but I've hired you. That's it. So, you're using everything at your disposal. So I
Yeah.
like live for
No.
the hustle. That's my jam. This is why I still am obsessed with you.
Uh,
Exactly. Because that's the thing. Like, you
and I
knew.
felt lost because I had the economics background. So I felt so lost being like in design school. I felt like so lost. And then I would see the other students felt so lost with the things I already did and were easy for me. I'm like, Professor, I need you. Like, I don't know how to do a mood. Like, I was so,
Right.
it was
Like,
so
what am I
opposite.
supposed to do? Like, what is this? Yeah.
And that's how it started. I remember launching in South of Fifth. I remember in a club. It was the
Yep.
first fashion
Always
show.
in a club.
Imagine,
Always in a
imagine a
club.
fashion show. I remember like it seems like yesterday, but a lot has been going on after, and that's how it started. It's now that I see it, I'm like, wow, what were you doing? Like a fashion show? Like it's like so many, everything has changed now. You do presentations, you show one by one. It's like so different. But at the moment, it's what I knew, and it worked out. And I remember when I started, I got a showroom in New York. Her name is Rita Overset. She was amazing. She also had her own brand with the family, like a handbag brand. So she guided me. And I started with her. And when we were there, the buyers started to come in, ordering. And that's how the team of Patricia Field from Six and the City got there. And they pick up some of the bags and
For the second movie.
they were there. And I was like, at that time, I didn't have an atelier. I just had like an outsourced workshop working for us. And then at that time, I had to like run to find my own
Someone
product.
to make the damn bags.
But
Yep.
so in theory, everything is so different. And then in practical, it's like just take a plane, like with those samples, just go and figure it out and look for production. That's how we started our own little workshop in Barranquilla. It was because we needed it. It was like forced to. And that's how it all started. And I just knew Colombia was the country where to start. There were my roots. And then with time, we started also working not only with Colombian artisans, but also, like from Spain as well, from Italy. So kind of, finding that same ethic in other countries. And
Right.
that's how kind of it all started.
It's crazy though, isn't it? But now, just a question, because your bags have always been on the luxe side. Did you find that your price point hindered your growth, or you dug your heels in and said, this is who I am. It doesn't matter. They're going to have to follow me, because there's a lot of designers, a lot of new designers who don't understand pricing, and because they don't have orders against their bags or don't understand the basic laws of economies of scale, the more you produce, the less your goods cost, that they assume that the only way they can do this is by charging upwards of 700 to 800 a bag, when the materials may or not be worth it. But that's what the only way they can make money is to charge that price point. And by doing basic competitive analysis, like, who do I hang with or sit with, as the buyers ask, you learn like, oh, damn, like, I'm an unknown brand. Maybe my bags do cost too much, or maybe my bags cost this, but I'm sticking to it. Like, how did you handle that? Because there's a lot of pros and cons and challenges that come with the fundamentals of pricing when you're a new brand and have orders but don't have sales against it, or the other way around.
I remember your book was a lot of help at that time, like the Handbag Designer 101. I remember like I had two versions, one that I highlighted and one that I wanted to keep
Oh my
for
God.
me. So I think you as a creator, sometimes you feel connected to a piece, that maybe it doesn't make sense to a buyer or the market. But I think you have to create that hybrid momentum when you are making a collection. So I think you do. Now that I go back, maybe at the moment I didn't know a lot about the fundamentals of pricing. I know the basics. And then maybe I was not making, like enough for like margin for a product, but then kind of in the way, like there was like a hybrid mix to it. Like sometimes you are losing in one, but you feel it's you and you want it there and you don't want to ruin the whole curve, for pricing or for like the category where you're at the store. And I think we had to play with it. But I do think the most important to have that clear before starting. Like I think that process could save you a lot of money and a lot of time to have those fundamentals of pricing like really clear. And knowing, I'm a creator, try to find the best way to have something, like you feel it's your brand, but don't forget about the customer and what they're willing to pay for it. Like you have to be more realistic. Sometimes we as creators, sometimes we are in the clouds. So we need that, that financial kind of comeback, like that person could guide you, like to combine, like you have the creativity, but you're down to earth, like, and business, so that's like the perfect mix, even to kind of apply that to all the collections you design too. You have to have that, that dream there, but you have to have the realistic approach to the market as well.
If you ever wanted to start a handbag line and didn't know where to start, this is for you.
Living proof that independent designers can make it big.
Emily Blumenthal is one prime example.
If you had dreams of becoming a handbag designer and didn't know where to start, this is for you. If you have a handbag brand and are in need of strategy and direction, this is for you. I'm Emily Blumenthal, handbag fairy godmother and handbag designer expert, and this is Handbag Designer 101, the masterclass. Over the next 10 classes, I will break down everything you need to know how to make, market, and manufacture a handbag. Broken down for you that you'll not only skip steps in that handbag building process, but also save money in that learning curve. For the past 20 years, I've been teaching at the top fashion universities in New York City, created the Handbag Awards, and also the Handbag Designer 101 podcast. I'm going to show you like I have countless brands from sketch to sample to shelf, whether you're just starting out and don't know where to begin, or even if you have a handbag line and just need some strategic direction, the Handbag Designer 101 Masterclass is just for you. So let's get started and you will be the creator of the next it bag. Join me, Emily Blumenthal, with the Handbag Designer 101 Masterclass. It's really, really tricky. I mean, just because I know your bags are made with finer materials, and I think, the good thing about being Latin or Caribbean or Colombian, or even being from Miami, is by culture, you have a lot of people around you. Like it's,
but you know what, Emily, it's so crazy. If you tell me who our customer is, it's not any of those. It's crazy. Like it's not like it's not like the Miami, it's not like the Colombians, not the Latins. I think we have learned in the way, like maybe at first, like we are designing for that culture because we are Colombians or we're Latins, but then it's so beautiful, the process, like this connects with other markets, like totally opposite of where you come from. It's interesting.
No, that's such a good segue. But to start,
it helps the community.
And that's one of the things, like I teach, like, you have no brand if you have no community. And
it's so important.
You need to, as someone who's creating something, you need to create that community. So I feel like, not that you started at an advantage, but you had an Insta community purely as a result of it being you, right?
Yeah.
You have a look, you represent the aspirational Adriana Castro customer. By no means, though, and this is one of the takeaways from having done several incubators, that so many designers don't take the time to do the analytics of doing a deep dive of the zip codes of their customers. And when you do that, you're able to see from a socioeconomic level of where these people are coming from. And that's when you realize, hey, now, these aren't all beautiful people from Miami. This is someone from Chicago or Evanston or from Texas or Louisiana, and because And I've told this story before. I had one designer who was grossing about $1 million, not net, gross. And when I was trying to help her get acquired, my M&A, my mergers and acquisitions contact said, how many employees does she have? And all this ties into like this bigger story. And when I said, oh, it's great, there's 1.5, she's got an assistant and she's got a part-time person. And he's like, well, that's a red flag. And I said, what do you mean that's a red flag? It's amazing. It's a much easier
Operation.
acquisition. Like it's lean. And he's like, no, because then the brand's all about her. So I can't sell her brand because that's selling her. And when the customers are buying the product, it needs to be about the bag, not about the creator. And the further away you get from the product and knowing it can sell without you, because that's really what it is. Because the person in tiny.usa, pardon my French, doesn't give a shit that you're this beautiful girl from Colombia and lives in Miami.
They don't even know you. They don't even maybe know you. Yeah.
Exactly. Because the product needs to sell itself. And I think that is a learning curve process. And the amount of pop-ups and door-to-door, and meet the designers, you could do those till you're blue in the face. And that helps breed momentum and noise, but that's not going to be the consistent to keep your product selling. And I think that's what a lot of people need to have to go through that whole experience of I'm a designer, I'm a creator, my bags are $800 to get to that point to realize, hey, now it's not about me. My bag needs to sell many, many times without me even being part of the process.
You know what really I enjoy when I see someone with my bag, and they don't I'm there. They don't even know,
That's amazing.
The bag. And then I have this is crazy. I have this story with a friend we met in an elevator. She's also a designer from New York. Her name is Kimberly Taylor. And we met in an elevator. I was wearing my bag. And she's in the elevator and she's like, oh, I also own an Adriana Castro bag. That's what she said. I'm like, hi, I'm Adriana. It's like, oh, no way. It was that's where you are doing things right. I know people they can say the brand needs the founder. You need to connect. You have to be out there, the story. But that's an example that it really told me, you are doing something right. And from then it's a whole new connection. We're doing collaborations, pop-ups in the hand. It's crazy. And she didn't even know who I was. She was buying the bag from a store. And it was she's even promoting it to me. Oh, I have this Adriana Castro bag. I'm she doesn't know I'm that's thank you, universe.
Yeah. It's those little moments though that keep you going because look, running a brand is one thing, but being a designer, having to deal with, production, tariffs, accounts payable, accounts receivable, all that, it's not sexy, it's not pretty, it's not cute. That makes 80% of your business is not the product. It's all that other bullshit to keep your product going.
And even, Emily, your life going because you still have to pay bills, besides the business, you have to take care, of your own business, your own personal business. So it's you have two, as you said, two realities and it's not all cute, it's a lot of pressure and in both ways because you have to have both things covered.
Right. And it's very isolating and lonely, especially doing what we do, doing what you do. It is a very lonely process. And having this need, and I applaud the fact that your brand is still going and you still look exactly the same as you did when I met you. But it's a lot of evolution and people don't seem to realize the commitment that goes into doing this because at one point, maybe it was a hobby or maybe you thought it was a business. It may or may not have been making money, but 10 years later, the lens of what you're looking, it's different. It's no way. It's that sales. My bags need to go. It's not so much about what's the next collection? It's what are my numbers? What's selling? How can I capitalize on my hero bag or my anchor product? And extend from that. So I know that if 80% of my business comes from 20% of my customers, how can I keep this 20% feeling like queens, that they get the special attention so I can get them to come back and buy again and again and again?
And also besides that, it's like also understanding what your body and your soul and your mind can deliver, So it's like doing that balance. I think once you have a few years in the industry, now you understand, it's like it's numbers, but at the same time, what can you deliver? It's like how can you balance that equation? And that's, I think I found it very interesting, and learning, like not feeling guilt if you are not delivering X amount of styles a year or a season, like just like releasing that guilt and kind of do things more purposeful, basically.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot to look at it from, because, you're taught commercially, we need to be producing this many a season and this, and we need to have new product. And, historically, when we were obsessed with getting into these big retailers, because that when we were coming up, that was the vibe, that if they saw the same product and you were trying to get in the store again and you showed them the same product, if that same buyer was there, she'd be like, I saw that already. Why are you wasting my time?
Emily, now you say that and it's so funny. Like they still order the bags like from 10 years ago, and it's so funny. Like, and now like they like even not even because they're not in the website. I think they go through Pinterest or they go through, like Google Archives or something. Like, you still make this? I'm like, it's beautiful to have created some pieces that no matter the years, they're timeless and people still value, like that style. So that's very interesting. It's like they want new product, but then like now it's like, no, can we just repeat the same style? Can we get that one back? So it's nice, it's like a learning experience, like sometimes we're so focused on delivering new, and sometimes you have magic already there that just need to be recreated. And even in financial terms, it makes sense because you're not making new prototypes, you are like, there's a lot behind to it. So I think just releasing that guilt of recreating styles and recreating some archives, that's, I think I found it really important in this part of the brand.
But to that point, it's funny because what I created, this section called It Bag with New York Now, was purely as a result of exactly what you're talking about. Because as independent designers, I hate the term emerging. People know that. It's like pet peeve of mine. Like, if you've been doing it for 5 years, you've emerged. Like you've grown. Like, what is there? Like, I'm still undercover. But buyers and your customers know you for a handful, maybe 3 at most, of your anchor pieces or your best-selling bags. So to feel like that pressure and guilt I need to constantly reinvent the wheel. No, you don't. You don't. You redo, much like the motorcycle bag or the city bag of 𝐉𝐶𝐻𝐺. You keep putting it out, change the material, change the shape slightly. But if that's what your customer base wants, then that's what you should give them.
Yeah. So, and if you still love it too, like if you still love it, like why just like, because you can't disappear. It's like, it's like being like, it's like, I don't know, it's like losing like a little of soul. Like, okay, like it's like in Spanish, it's como desechable, like something that is like one day gone, like.
Right. Right. Like if you love those pair of jeans, you're going to keep wearing them over and over and over again. And for whatever you might buy new pairs of jeans, you're always going to go back to this one pair because of how it makes you feel. So why not keep putting out the same product and an iteration of that to keep that 20% happy than to feel that pressure and expense? Like, to create new product, it's expensive. Not only, the sampling, doesn't matter who you are, you still have to pay for sampling. Then it comes in, then it's not right. Then you have to do the test drive, just like anything else. What's wrong? And the sell-in, it's like a customer acquisition cost, because then you need to tell your customers like, hey there, I got a new bag. And they're like, but I'm happy with this one. Why? Just why?
I'm going to share like a little story that was kind of related to what we're talking about. So like in Sex and the City 2, Sarah Jessica Parker carry like, it's called the Eva clutch, right? And that was done. And then fast forward, and just like that, I'm watching, I remember my dad passed away January 3rd, and I remember his mass was January 6th. I go back home, I put on the TV, and then she walks in with like an I remember, empty white apartment. She was going to move after Big passed away. And then she's carrying the same bag in and just like that. And imagine how many years passed.
I
And
didn't know that.
that's not a customer. That's her. And I'm like, what's this? Is this like data signal? Like I have to keep going, create timeless pieces. And then I was kind of curious, how did that happen? It's because there was no stylist reaching out.
Nope. And Patricia
nothing.
Field wasn't part of it.
No, nothing. And then I asked, and then it was like, she had it like from her archives. It was hers. She brought it to the set. And I'm like, she's not my customer. She doesn't even like, I'm not her friend. Like
she doesn't know who I am.
She doesn't know. I remember I met her at the premiere, but I'm sure she doesn't remember at all who I am. But she carried the bag. She brought it to the set, and it was again, and just like that. And I'm
Who
like,
told you? How'd you find out?
No, so like I went in through Instagram, and I said like, I just want to know like how. No, she brought it to the set. That's part of her archive. Like that's because I remember when the Sex and the City 2 happened, we were asked if we wanted to gift her one of the pieces she liked, and she liked that one. I'm like, yes, you know what? She likes it. She wants it. Like, let her have it.
Vaya con Dios, enjoy.
But I didn't know, she kept it all these years. You know how you see all these influencers, everything like selling their closets. And
yeah.
And it's part of the new energy, but I was so happy she kept it. And not only that, she brought it to the set, and she was in one of the episodes. I'm like, wow. Like, so that's what you say. It's like, even her, she's not a customer. She's kind of confirming the theory we're talking about. It's like, there's some circumstances if like that change. Like when I see previous pieces, maybe what I feel for them now, it's different. Like things change, energies change. So like, it's like sometimes now I want like those pieces back, and I wear them. I'm like, wow, they feel so new again.
Right. Like, what was I thinking? I know.
So that was a story. It really like kind of confirmed, like timeless, that you could create timeless pieces. You could do novel materials. Again, like the adopt with love. If you have something, like you don't feel now, like why not, your friend or someone, adopt that bag, but you promise to love that bag forever. Like you are like giving something special to that person. So it was very, it was kind of reaffirming that after I saw Sarah Jessica Parker so many years. I think it was 10 years after, like 12.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Wow. So you're part of iconic history twice. I remember because I remember talking to Carlos Falchi about your bag because he was one of the judges, and, he had a lot of feelings being Brazilian and seeing, he's like, she's very inspired. And I'm like, she's not inspired by you. I can tell you that. Like, you are inspirational, but she's from Colombia. Like, she's got her own thing going on. And I said, the beautiful thing about being from the Caribbean and being South American, and like you said, this very clean palette, much like what you're wearing in your very clean walls and light fixtures, which I'm like, oh my God, there's no fingerprints all over them. It's one of those things that it would make sense that the same thing that would influence him would influence you, because the cultural characteristics are the same, and this yearn for color and creativity in this very clean palette for those who will, and you are just one of those people. So
no, I would like, honestly, he was like, I really admire him, and I just found so magical his story, like all his background and like I really admire him, and it was like I also met him through you, and so so I'm so happy he created a legacy. And now I know, I was trying to get in contact with his brother in New York, because I had that little commitment, to say, I really love what your father did. And I know they're doing now handbags made by the brother. So for some reason, I was like, all those stories, they still are in my heart. And I tried to connect, when things, it's weird. I thought he was still creating. I'm like, wow, he's still alive. And that for me, that was like I know it was a happy moment to feel like he's still alive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Adriana, thank you so much for joining us.
No, it was like a very happy Friday. Like, you made my day.
Aww.
Like I love remembering, like old times and just confirm myself why I'm doing this. And it's like, it's motivation as well for me. And I hope for other creators and all your students, I hope one day I can attend your class.
Oh my God, I'm going to have you as a guest
journey.
speaker next semester. You're going to be one of my
Yes.
guest speakers. I can't wait. Adriana, how can we find
you
you,
so
follow you, and buy your beautiful product?
So the website's adrianacastro.co. And then you can follow us on Instagram at Adriana Castro as well. And I love, being in contact, like real contact. So like, don't like write my name. I want to really like connect with you. And I hope this is just like a little window to connect with your followers as well.
Oh my goodness. Well, and for those people who aren't as cool, it's Adriana with one N, not two.
Yes.
And Castro,
And it's Colombia, not Colombia, right?
oh my God, please. Yeah. It's an O, not a U. Wake up. Oh my goodness.
Thank
Thank
today
you.
like I won another award from Handbag Designer 101.
Oh my gosh. Well, the Handbag Awards and myself, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and review and follow us on every single platform at Handbag Designer. Thanks so much. See you next time.